Welcome to the Post Racing Podcast with Ron Robinson and Sean Travass. Post Racing, the site for winners.
Oh, good afternoon, Sean. How's your week been?
Yes, what's so good about it? No, okay, yeah, fair comment. Just said to Ron, I'm in Mr. Misery mode, not that anyone will be able to tell, I suppose. It's we've had some nice weather and now it started chucking it down south, and Ron and I have been discussing, well, do we bet on this racecourse or that racecourse? What's the going going to be? And the answer's, I don't know. It's chucking it down. But didn't they water it as well? Yeah, they did. Not sure about that one.
Yeah.
Ours not to reason why, but ours to try and find winners for people, and that makes life very difficult when you don't know what the actual going is going to be. And I looked at Ascot. I'm making the numbers up because I've shut the web page down like an idiot. But on the straight course, it was 6. Going stick was 6.5. On the round course, it was 4.5. Something like that.
I know. I saw that.
And that
saw that.
Big difference between the two. And without being rude, your average punter, and sometimes when I'm rushing, that includes me, doesn't really see whether that race is on the straight course or on the round course, do they?
What are they doing? Doing remedial work in the middle of the season. There's some very weak, patchy grass growth at Ascot.
Yeah.
You know, and you think to yourself, how bad was it that they had to do that? You know?
Well, it makes you wonder, because again, I'd have to look in detail, and I haven't. But the trouble with Ascot is it runs all year round, doesn't it? We start off early in the season.
It does, yeah.
End up with Champions Day at the end of the season. Then we're straight on, just slightly different track. We're straight onto the jumps course. It's one of the biggest, best, and most important courses in the country, but it doesn't actually get much break. So it must be really difficult to look after in their defence. But sometimes they're going to have to go back and say, look, we can't take that meeting, give that meeting to someone else, and we need to let the turf recover.
Yeah. Well, I've often wondered this. That there must be a load of tracks that are just in the same sort of boat, because they race every week. You know.
Yes. They need to perhaps have more, if the grass will hold it, of course. Perhaps have more festivals where there are 3 or 4 days this week, or make it 3 for want of an argument with the smaller courses, 3 this week, and then they don't race again for 3 months or whatever, and then they have another 3-day festival and don't race again. That might attract more fans. I mean, even the likes of Brighton, they'll get a decent fan base going down there when they have the Brighton Festival, because there's lots of food stalls and bands and famous people and whatever. So people go down there on holiday, if you like, and book a couple of nights Airbnb or whatever it is you do, and make the most of it. But then you can leave the turf alone for a few weeks to give it a chance to recover. I think people forget it's not an all-weather track. I mean, that's where all-weather tracks come in, to be fair, in their advantage. It's not an all-weather track, and the grass has to grow. I'm looking out at my garden where our puppies decided that tearing up bits of grass is just as much fun as playing with the ball. It's not going to recover overnight between now and next week, for want of an argument. But
it's the same when they run these. They have these 3 or 4 day meetings, and it's heavy ground. What must it be like on the 4th day?
Yeah. There's not a lot of grass left, that's for sure.
No.
Sticking its head through the mud, that's all it can do. But never mind, come on, we got the let's look at the bright side. So, okay, it might be raining out there, and that says to us, what does that say? It says,
the jump. It's raining where you are, it's cracking the flags here, it's gorgeous.
I'm looking at it thinking jump season's coming soon, the amount of rain we've got. So can't be bad. There's always something to look forward to. We must be on more on the bright side, like we keep saying, mustn't we?
Yeah.
Talking of not on the bright side, it's not a bright side thing, is it? I asked Ron if we could start with a brief, and I will keep it brief because I know I rattle on about affordability checks week in, week out. That's because they keep changing the bloody rules.
They do.
Yeah, they put one out last week. It's a new one. There's a light touch check if you've got county court judgments, bankruptcies, etc. Anyone who's got a good argument against that, do feel free to email me, because I think that's not an unreasonable place to start. To be fair, if you're bankrupt with county court judgment, should you really be having 50 quid on a horse or sticking 500 quid in an account? Okay, you can argue civil liberties say you can, but I can certainly see where they're coming from on that one, even if I don't necessarily agree with how they're doing it. Then the figures move up to £500 a month for the trial period, which I don't really know why they're bothering to do that, because it's going to come back down again as soon as the trial period's over. Personally, you would think you would trial it at the same figures as you're going to actually plan to use, but that sounds far too sensible for the Gambling Commission. The reason I wanted to mention it is that these are good or bad ideas, these are the latest steps on affordability checks and the Gambling Act review. What I'm concerned about is that the Gambling Commission don't appear to have made this totally crystal clear to bookmakers as to what they do need to do and what they don't need to do. And my point behind that is that bookmakers will still continue to run scared of multi-million pound fines for not looking after the customer, which they've had in the past, and rightly so. I'm not arguing against that. But the Gambling Commission can put out whatever set of rules it likes. My question is, are the bookmakers going to actually follow those rules? Or are they going to just go ahead and carry on doing what they're doing now? Three proofs of ID, 3 proofs of how much you earn, 2 copies of your bank statement, not redacted in some cases, by the way, so you can't take anything out of there if you don't want them to know where your money comes from. And as Tony Hancock would have said, perhaps a pint of blood or an armful of blood, just to confirm who you really are. I think the bookmakers are going to continue doing that. I'm going to be watching social media. And if anybody has any experience, please feel free to write into Ron or to me, and I'll be interested to see what people say. I don't think the bookies are going to do what they're supposed to do. I think they're going to go ahead and go, yeah, well, we'll just carry on as we are. Better safe than sorry, in which case chaos reigns. That's my view. What do you think, Ron? What do you think?
My overriding feeling is, now that I've probably lost the will to live over this topic, to be honest with you, but it just won't go away, will it? What I tend to do is I skim read the articles, because some of them are really lengthy and very detailed. And I haven't got the time to sift through the nitty gritty, so to speak. But I was interested in what the Racing Post did, and they asked a senior analyst outside the business to take a look at what it was that the Gambling Commission was proposing. And he came back with a list of questions that basically said they haven't got anything in place to determine what the data actually tells them when it comes in. He said they're effectively not measuring results, just producing them. And it just makes me feel that the Gambling Commission themselves, they haven't got a baldy clue about what it is they're doing. They're just going ahead and doing it because it's a fait accompli, and it doesn't matter what the results tell them. This is coming in.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I don't often defend the Gambling Commission. A couple of people there are okay. Others I don't necessarily get on as well with. But I think perhaps they've been given a very, very hot potato from the very beginning and gone, what are we supposed to do with this? And someone in government said, well, you've got to deal with it. And they've gone, well, we've got one man and his dog, and you're trying to give us something that you need a manpower of 100 people for an argument to deal with. How are we supposed to do that? And I don't really know what the answer is to that. It's a mammoth task they've been given, and I don't think they're the biggest organisation in the world to try and take it on. No. Nor are they that experienced within the gambling industry. They might be quite experienced in overseeing it, but that's not quite the same thing as what they're being asked to do now. So I think they've been in trouble from the start. I'll defend them on that one, but somehow they've got to reach a conclusion. I don't really know. I don't think they know where they're going either, is the truth of it. But the problem is that while all this goes on and people are mumbling in the corridors of power, saying somebody's got to deal with it after all, etc., it's the punter that's suffering and the sport that's suffering, with people going, I'm going to walk away. If I can't put 50 quid in my account without having to fill out 200 reams of paperwork, I'm just not going to bother. I can't be arsed with it, excuse my language. And they'll walk away. The only people I can see who might do without this are possibly the high street bookmakers. Might suddenly get a second breath, if you like, second wind, because all of a sudden it'd be a lot easier. I haven't got one locally, unfortunately. It'd be a lot easier. Do you know what? I can't be bothered to fill all that online. I'm just going to go down to the local betting shop and hand a 20 quid and put a bet on. It's easier. So that might work that way. I just think it's disappointing that the whole sport has been on a knife edge about this. It's years now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That's what I mean. I'm losing the will to live.
So am I. My viewpoint was, and I'll cut it short there because I don't want to bore people to tears. If I bored them to tears so far on a 3-monthly basis for the last 2 years, when a major change happens like this, I can't just ignore it and pretend it didn't happen.
No, that's a fact.
That's my only reasoning. The only point I put at the bottom is we need to drag the bookmaking industry screaming loudly into the 19th century, because we certainly haven't made it to the 20th, let alone the 21st. It's an absolute joke, and somebody somewhere needs to grab it by the throat and throttle it until something actually happens. Anyway, moving on quickly, let's move on to the Chester non-runners, because you texted me about
do you know what? When I saw, the night before when I'm prepping my work for the Saturday, and I saw a 17 runner race at Chester, I thought, oh yeah, like 17 are going to turn up. And so I waited, and then I sent you a message, must have been mid-Saturday morning. I said, have you seen what's going on? All the outside stalls were being withdrawn.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, well, why not just say, Chester, you've got a maximum field size of 6, because then they'll all turn up. There's no point them opening up races for double figure fields, because as soon as a trainer knows, well, look at that, I've got stalled 12, no point in going. But the thing is, they're not doing it straight away. They're withdrawing their horses on the morning of the race. They know the draw the day before. Take the horse out. Don't leave punters thinking, well, look at that, there's still 16 in there. And then you think, right, well, I can have an each way bet in that 240 at Chester. You bang your bet on, and next thing you know, you're down to 13 runners. It's maddening, absolutely maddening. And what about the vets that are giving these horses certificates, or the trainers that are abusing self-certs because they've got the 17 draw in the 17 runner race at Chester? It's just not on, is it?
I don't disagree with you on it. I think perhaps the BHA need to look at the self-certificate version has been a great success, whether people like it or not, because it's a lot of paperwork saved and a lot of money saved for the industry overall, be that the BHA enforced or be that the vets, the trainers having to pay a vet, which in turn is passed on to the owner, etc., etc. So it's been a good thing, but perhaps they need to look at this. Wolverhampton will be another example, I guess. Beverley, perhaps Ripon, ones where the draw is known to be that much of a bias. They should say to them, well, of course you can withdraw. There's no reason why you can't withdraw. However, we just need a better explanation. We can't have didn't eat up. Funny that the next day it runs 2 days, runs 2 days later, and it's fine. It destroys the starting price for that. I mean, sometimes when I've got time, I actually go through a race and I work out, well, I think that one's going to take him along at a fairly good clip. So therefore, I want one that's coming from off the pace, but he's got stamina for maybe a furlong more than the race actually is. You know what I mean? When you're actually assessing a race completely. And then it's the front runner that's withdrawn. Oh, my entire race complexion just changed. It's nothing like
exactly.
Then you add on to that your rule for withdrawals if they're withdrawn late enough and you took an early price. And let's face it, I've never met a punter yet who isn't convinced that their horse would have won, regardless of whether the odds-on favourite was in there or not, when they have a winner. And I put my hands up and say I'm one of those. And suddenly I get a massive rule for because the horse has been withdrawn, which I didn't know was coming. And then, as you say, I get paid first and second because there's only 7 runners now and not 8 or 9. And the whole complexion of the race has changed, and punters get fed up with it. And there's a pattern emerging. I have mentioned it at a higher level, shall we say, and we shall see whether anything comes out in the wash or doesn't.
Is a trainer limited to the number of self-certs he can do in a season?
Not that I know of.
No, well, he should be.
Yeah, I'm not saying they are or aren't. I don't even know whether there's any listings.
If you say you're given 5 self-certs, after you've reached 5, you've got to get a vet certificate to say you can't run. I bet you half of them wouldn't use their 5 anything like as quickly as they do.
Yeah, that's fair comment. We've also said as well that we'd like to see a slightly better explanation. I'm looking at Ascot where it's gone softer or softer than soft even, and you get a horse withdrawn because of the going. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a punter. Why was he withdrawn because of the going? Was he withdrawn because that going was too soft for him? Was he withdrawn because that going was too fast for him? Which one was it? I don't know. Now, I don't see why that information shouldn't be available. You're willing to say to the stewards, basically, I'm not running him on that ground. And the stewards say, well, why? It's too fast for him. Or the one they're probably worried about, it's not good ground at all. That's rock hard and I'm not running him on it.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they don't want it coming out in the public eye, if you like. But the reality is I don't see that information shouldn't be available to us punters to look at it and say, oh, he didn't like that because the ground was too fast. So if he's running on sort of super fast ground again, perhaps I'll give him a swerve. I guess they don't like doing that because they say, as you and I have noticed and you've pointed out to me in the past, unsuitable ground soft, and then 2 days later it wins on soft ground somewhere else.
I was just going to say that. We've seen this so often in the past.
So anything that gives them a chance to hide that information under a rock by just saying, unsuitable going, it to me isn't good enough.
No.
It needs unsuitable going, too firm, or
and what was written on the vet certificates?
Yeah, exactly. What was it? I don't know. Actually, I've never seen one of those. That's an interesting question. I'll try and follow that up. There's only
that'd be nice. Yeah,
there's so many hours in the day, so you have to remind me.
It is, yeah.
Talking of Rule 4, do you see what I did there?
I did. Segue.
I think I mentioned it the other week, to be honest with you, but somebody wrote to me and said, this Rule 4, I'm trying to remember what the numbers were. My horse was 7-2 seconds before it was withdrawn, and then suddenly it returned as 3-1 as a withdrawal, and it cost me an extra 5p in the pound because I had the winner.
Yeah.
Now I actually looked into it, and this horse was withdrawn at something like 8:49 a.m. in the morning. Literally, it was 49. It wasn't even 9 o'clock or a round figure. It's something 40. And I went and looked, and you can find this information online on Oddschecker and elsewhere of when the prices changed and when the horse was withdrawn. And pretty much every bookmaker shortened that horse at exactly 8:49. And then, of course, they then claim a Rule 4 on anyone who took an early price. And the Rule 4 is worse because the price is shorter. Now, I question that, but the thing I wanted to mention is it doesn't seem to come under anybody's remit. What do you reckon on that? Well, it's madness.
It is. I liken it to, this dynamic pricing that's going on with the superstar bands at the moment, who get people to queue up for tickets online, and then because the algorithms are dictating they can, the price is hiked to reflect demand. Well, actually, it's probably nothing like that at all, but I just wanted to give Oasis a bit of down the bank swap online. No, I've often seen a horse bolt at the start, and they shorten the price of the one that's bolted because they know the horse is probably not going to run, and the likelihood is they'll get more of a deduction. I've seen that very often.
Money.
Who's backing that while it's bolting? It's mad.
My problem is I wrote to the Starting Price Regulatory Commission about it. Hi, Nick, you're listening. Nick Russ, a friend of mine and very good person to deal with, I might add. And he said quite rightly, we'd be interested if it was minutes before the off because it affects the actual starting price. But if it's withdrawn in the morning, it's outside of our control, nothing to do with us, which is fair comment because it's the actual final. I'm talking 8:50 in the morning. And then the punter has to write to the individual bookmakers if they've got a complaint, and then on to IBAS if they don't get an answer. The point, my issue behind that is it seems to be an ongoing money stealing, if you like. I use the word money stealing way that the bookmakers can do it if it is them who's doing it, and it doesn't appear to be covered by anybody's watch. No. And that's in an industry that's a multi-billion-pound a year industry like racing is, whether you like it or not. That's what it is. No one's keeping an eye on that, and no one's responsible for it. Bookies can do what they like. Is that what they're saying? And if that's the case, that can't be right, surely. Never mind. Well, I've moved on to some positive stuff next.
Wasn't this good? I tell you what, and the topic we've got now is hats off to Aidan O'Brien sending City of Troy to work at Southwell on the 20th of September. Yeah. And the public are all welcome to go along and watch if they want. I tell you what, though, I had to laugh when I first heard that this was happening, because when Aidan was asked about his comments, he told the reporter they were going to Southampton. And when it was pointed out it was Southwell, he said, "It's a good job somebody else organises this, then, isn't it?" I thought that was brilliant. It's brilliant he's doing it, and that the public can go along and see this horse, because more often than not they would never be able to get to one of the big tracks, and they definitely won't be going the Breeders' Cup. So, no, I think that's brilliant. And it'd be great to see the home-based trainers doing something likewise, if they ever do get another good one.
I think
was that naughty?
It was. I'm going to pass it over so I don't get caught out for that one. I think the word is he's going to bring quite a strong team with him as well, because he's aware that in the Breeders' Cup on the dirt, they'll go hell for leather from the start. So I think he's going to take some fairly speedy horses to test City of Troy from the start. Things I said earlier in the season didn't quite come true. I don't know if you remember, I came back from Saudi and said that rumour was the City of Troy would miss the Guineas and go for the Kentucky Derby. Yeah. And that was proved to be wide of the mark, as we all know. However, I think it came with an element of truth to it, and that Aidan is convinced that City of Troy will handle the dirt, and that's been the plan for some time now, to try and get him to the Breeders' Cup and win on the dirt. And if that happens, then it'll be a master performance. Now, whether South Wales to Peter surface in the dirt equate particularly well, I'm not sure, but I'm guessing if that's where Aidan's going, then it must be the nearest that they can get. So we'll have to wait and see how accurate that is. But I think it's a good thing for him to do. I think it's nice that he's inviting people, the public, to go and see it. I hope that Southwell don't charge an entry charge.
I was thinking that. Yeah, that'd be naughty, wouldn't it?
Well, I think it is, but racing is always out to try and get some money out of somebody if it possible. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to be in Spain that week, so sadly I won't get to go. But otherwise I would have done. They always time these things when I'm away somewhere. But I think it's a positive thing, and as I say, hats off to Aidan, and thank you very much for actually thinking of the horse-loving public, and not just his own pocket, but the pocket of those who take the money out. Let's give something back to the people who like to go and see their horses.
Yeah.
Lastly, I'm going to let you lead this one. Hollie Doyle.
Hollie Doyle.
1,000 winners now. I don't know how old that makes you feel, but I know how old it makes me feel. Where did that come? Wow.
I've been trying to find out, when did she actually first start riding? When did this 1,000 winner start and end? I know it ends a couple of days back, but when did it start?
Don't know. I didn't find that out either.
I couldn't see that date. No, normally when you find when you see a headline like that, you thought, oh, I wonder how long it's taken her to do that.
You keep talking.
That's something I'm going to have to investigate. But yeah, 1,000 winners, that's stunning, isn't it? And it also includes 39 group and listed races. And on the day she rode her 1,000th winner, she was sitting 8th in the championship. I think she's absolutely brilliant. One thing she knows that many top jockeys don't know, and I include Kieran Fallon in that comment, is how to ride Goodwood. She's actually won £1.3 million at that track. That's stunning. Kieran Fallon couldn't ride that place for toffee, and yet she goes there, doubles, trebles, doesn't. She's amazing, absolutely amazing. And also, there's not many rides you could look back that she's given a horse that's lost and think she could have done better, should have done better with that one. She's just top class quality.
Right. While you were talking, well done, Ron. It's taken her 11 years. Her first ride was an amateur on the Mongoose in May 2013, I believe. That's what it says there. She's the second woman to reach 1,000 winners after Hayley Turner. And with no offence to Hayley took 23 years to do it. Hollie's taken 11. So that's hopefully that's a sign that things are moving in the right direction. We've had this kind of conversation many times. If you're good enough, then I don't care what your pronoun is or whatever the phrase you have to use these days. I think she's got very good hands, personally, and I think that certain horses go for her that do not go for others. I haven't had a chance to look into that. Something for another book one day, perhaps. I'm quietly confident that there are horses that simply don't like male riders, whether it's a testosterone thing or a hormone thing. I'm convinced that's true. And then you find, well, you then put a lady jogging up. I'm not saying she's not forceful in her finish, she is, but she's not a throw the kitchen sink, arms waving, legs kicking everywhere kind of finish, if she can avoid it. It's her affinity to the horse, her horsemanship that gets her through. Started with David Evans, went on to Richard Hannon, and then on to Archie Watson. 39 black type winners at the time of writing, 100 winners or more for the last 6 seasons in a row. It must make me feel old, because I still see her as I still see her as a little kid, but I suppose she probably is to me. Most people are to me, thinking about it. But I don't where those 1,000 winners came from, where that time went, is anybody's guess. But she's done a marvellous job. She's a great ambassador for the sport as well. Rarely see her without a smile on her face. Works hard. I've been to racecourses around the world and seen her jogging round places to keep fit and to possibly to keep her weight down. I'm saying possibly because I actually don't know. It might just be a fitness thing. But she's hard working. She hasn't been given any of this. She's got here by hard work and skill. And I wish her the very best with the next 1,000. And she said she wants to be champion jockey. I think personally basically down to the owners and trainers. I think she's good enough.
Of course it is. Yeah.
If they give her the rides, but then, to be fair, you could throw that comment at plenty of other jockeys, potentially male and female, even if you gave them the right ammunition or all the best ammunition, then they would win the title as well. But I think Hollie's more than capable. If she gets the ammo, good luck to her. Wouldn't we all like to see that?
It would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Well, it would just be another chance to come on a podcast and go, "Told you so."
Told you so. Yeah.
We've been preaching the lady jockeys for some time now. I think I don't see any issue with them if they're good enough. That's it. That's all I care about. Right. Anything else to discuss on the?
No, I think that's it. Now we can go and talk about some racing now.
Do we have to?
We put them to sleep. Let's wake them up again.
Well, we can try. I'm not sure with this racing we're going to manage it, but we'll try. Well, it's the weather again, isn't it? It's what the weather's done. I don't know. You say it's nice. That's sort of disappointing for me that it's nice up there, but never mind.
Well, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, Haydock's around about 40 minutes away from here in a Ferrari, right?
Yeah.
And the sun is cracking the flags, and it's good to soft. What is it going to be in the morning? All week they've been saying it's going to be on the easy side at Haydock. We've got wonderful temperatures up here today. It's scorching. And you're just thinking to yourself, is it going to dry out? Is it going to stay good to soft? How do you start work on that meeting tomorrow?
With great difficulty. Yeah.
It is, yeah. Should we go with the 115 at Haydock first? Speaking of Haydock.
Yeah. Why not? I was looking at weather forecast and see if there's any rain coming, but outlook warm and sunny.
Oh, dry.
Sunny spells again. I'm hopeful it's got the word soft in it, but don't tell anybody. Right, okay.
Yeah,
Go for it. 115 at Haydock. Who do you think is going to win this?
Group 3, 7-runner field, which has been around about the average field size for this for the last 5 seasons at least. I think you've had 2 or 3 that were 8 runners, but 7 will do. I'm seeing no advantage from an age perspective because whilst the 3-year-old winner is rare, just 2 in the last 10 runnings of this race, the number representing that age group has been relatively small. They've only had 14 racing for them, and 2 of them have won. I think another one has placed. Weight ranges too, they're not saying much to me at all either. So all I've got to work with is what the market has told us. I see only 2 winners trading bigger than 11-2 in the last decade. And in an ideal world, you would want to be front 2 on the tissue because 6 of the last 10 winners were. And 4 of the last 5 winners too. So for me, then it's a simple choice of Cicero's Gift or Clove Hitch. The second named is a 3-year-old, carrying just 8 stone 11. I can find only 1 winner in the last 10 years that has won this, carrying less than 9 stone, and that was 8 stone 12 pounds. I'll be Dutching, so I'm fine. But those looking for a solo play, I've got to go with Cicero's Gift. This isn't, to me, a top quality field. At least it doesn't feel like one. My solo play has only won a handicap this season and was last of 7 at Goodwood at the beginning of August. Probably ground related, probably does need a bit of dig in it. And it'll be slower tomorrow than it was at Goodwood. He beat Holloway Boy half a length that day. Now, Holloway Boy runs in this race tomorrow as well. And he beat the horse, I think it was about half a length, and he's better off at the weights tomorrow as well. I'm still anything but confident about this, to be honest with you. But because I must, I'm going to put up Cicero's Gift.
Well, I said you have to put Cicero's Gift. No, okay. Yeah. 7 runners. This is a clue as to how difficult this race is. So 7 runners, 4-1 the field.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Wow. 4, 5, 5, 11-2, 13-2, 9-1, and 10-1. This is one tight race on paper, at least. Cicero's Gift heads the market, beaten 19 lengths on quicker ground at Goodwood. The ground was given as the reason that day. I think you can stick a biro straight through that. That's what connections are implying at the very least. He won at Newbury, Wolverhampton and Goodwood last year as a 3-year-old, followed that by 7th to Paddington in the Group 1 St James Palace Stakes at Royal Ascot. Repeatedly denied a clear run that day. General thought was he'd have finished in the first 4 if he'd have got a good run. Okay, you're guessing that one, but it certainly looked that way. Returned this season on soft ground to win at Sandown. Looked like he needed the run. Forget the last run. Instantly forgettable. who would have got anywhere near to Paddington out of the rest of this field? Anybody? I can't see anything that would have done. Let alone maybe 4 lengths behind him at guess if he'd have got a clear run. If the word soft appears in the going, then I think Cicero's Gift is not a good thing, but he's by far the likeliest winner. If it goes to good ground, I think he's still the likeliest winner. If it goes any faster than that, then I'm struggling after that, and possibly Clove Hitch. But I'm quite happy with Cicero's Gift, and I'm the only one north of Watford praying for rain. So,
yeah,
it's a rarity for me. And Ron doesn't want it. He wants a nice day out so he can go out for a picnic. But hopefully you're not going to get one wrong. It's going to be raining and raining. Good to soft ground, and Cicero's Gift wins by 4 lengths pulling a cart. There you go. That's my prediction. And I've got the lottery numbers are. No, I'm joking. Right, on to the 2 o'clock at Kempton for the all-weather, Group 3, the Unibet Serenia Stakes over 6 furlongs. What do you make of this?
Juveniles all.
Yeah.
But we've got one trading miles clear of the rest. Symbol of Strength, around about 6 to 5 as I speak. Yep. And it's then around about 13 to 2 bar that one. He's officially rated 107. The third favourite is a horse called It Ain't 2, who did the Om's a Good Turn about a week ago in the Class 2 Conditions Stakes at Chester. But is officially rated £12 inferior. The second favourite, Brian, is a full stone inferior to Symbol of Strength. If he reproduces his Jim Crack third, where he had the Molecombe winner behind him in 4th, he should win this doing cartwheels. I could go looking for ghosts. I could say he's gone off at 80 to 1 to land that Group 2 at Goodwood. Yeah. But I think that's more to do with being with an unfashionable trainer in Adrian Keatley rather than anything else. That most. I think if he'd have been with somebody like Gosden, he'd never have been 80 to 1. No. And like I say, if he repeats the form of the Jim Crack, he wins this. It's got to be Symbol of Strength.
This is turning into a dual podcast. I'm on Symbol of Strength as well for pretty much. He's difficult to oppose. There's always a concern. I don't like the 6 to 5. As simple as that. It's hard to say 6 to 5 in what we've got a 10-runner field. These are 2-year-olds. By definition, something will improve more than we've seen in the past. That's just the way the 2-year-olds work. So I wouldn't fall over in shock if something improves past him, but we don't know that. That's second guessing. As you said, he's won his maiden air very comfortably. Sent off 80 to 1 for the Jim Crack. Yep, close to causing upset, beating just a length. Had a big mojo behind him. Aiden O'Brien trained favourite was another 4 lengths behind him as well. That could be a one-off. It could not be a one-off. His price is skinnier than I would have liked. As you say, he's £12 better than any of his rivals, even allowing for the fact he has to give £3 to some of them. He's really. Do you see with me my idea of an each way alternative for Andrew Balding in a first time visor? PJ on board, 11 to 1. Wouldn't put anyone off considering him as an each way alternative, but that's scrambling around at the bottom of the barrel trying to find an alternative. You want to see an alternative that jumps out, not scramble around trying to find one. And I'm in scrambling mode, so I'm afraid it's Symbol of Strength for me as well. And we just have to hope that between us, Ron and I find a different horse each in the races remaining. Which are
last week we both came up with Tamfana, couldn't see it getting beat.
This is true.
I thought it should have been about 1 to 2, 1 to 3, and it won at about 13 to 8.
Yeah.
How bizarre was that?
Makes no sense sometimes. This game, does it? No sense at all. No. What can you do? Never mind. Let's go. You can tell me the winner of the 235 at Kempton. I suspect you're going to be slightly different to me on this one, so we should wait and see.
You just never know. It's Group 3, the September Stakes, and I think 3 of these you can draw a line through straight away. It's currently 20 to 1 bar the front 4 on the tissue, which again suits me fine because I only want to be working with the front 3 anyway. I'd have netted the last 9 winning Dutchers doing that. So when you see a market like this, it's one of those, one of those things I'm doing at the moment, the buying money type of thing. Well, this could well be one of those races where you can buy yourself some money. Now, the winner of this in 2021 comes back for another go, Hamish, round about 15 to 8 favourite right now. But he's going to have to be a proper stats buster to win this at the age of 8. In the last 10 years, only one horse older than 6 has won this. And that was exactly 10 years ago. A 3-year-old took it 9 years ago when Jack Hobbs won it at 1-5. And so a podcast selection basically picks itself because the stats say neither Hamish nor Calipana can win it. So they're two of the front three. The other one of the front three that I would not back with stolen money, but is the stats horse, is Lion's Pride. And he runs for the Gosdens. The yard has won this 3 times in the last 5 years. 2 of them when John held the license on his own. 6 of the last 10 winners arrived neither having won or placed last time out. Now, he fits that bill perfectly because he was last of 5 to Al Arsi at Goodwood. It's a pig of a race as far as I'm concerned. But all the trends and stats point me towards Lion's Pride, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not a race that inspires me with It's a good race. So let's be realistic and turn what we're saying on its heads. We've got a 7-runner race with odds against favourite at group level, and we had a 4-1 favourite for the first race we spoke about. Yeah. In small fields, pretty much level weights, barring winners, penalties, etc. We're doing quite well to find races where they're odds against, really. Lion's Pride, I can see why you're going for him. Gosden, like you say, he's won 4 in the last 10 years. Would he get within a length of Luxembourg? I don't think he would. Personally, I don't think he gets within a length of Luxembourg. No, but Hamish did. So there's the line I'm coming in from. Hamish is a length second to Luxembourg in the Coronation Cup. His last run at Newmarket was a disaster. Last of 4. He's just ran an absolute stinker. No one knows why. It's the age-old saying, if horses are not machines, I'll just reel them off my list of quotes to use. But he had an off day, and they're entitled to have an off day. When they have more than one off day, you have to say to yourself, what's that all about? But in his case, I think he just had an off day. He's 8 years old. He's entitled to. He doesn't seem to have lost any of his spark, despite his age. A bit like me. Or I'd like to think. I think he's not slowing down. I think he's got a 1 out of 2 record on the all-weather. He's been heavily backed all week. Early on in the week, Lion's Pride was favourite. Hamish was second favourite, and they flip-flop now. So Hamish has been the one for money. I think he's a class act. I'm surprised that the all-weather's slow enough for him, because he usually likes plenty of cut in the ground if he goes on the grass. But officially standard to slow, I never quite work out how they change that from standard to standard.
It depends on how they prepare it. If they roll it, it's what they call standard, which would be quick. And if they harrow it, it slows it down. Now, if they've harrowed it, then everything's in Hamish's favour. But I don't know how we find that out until about 10 minutes before the meeting starts.
Well, as I say, the going is officially listed as standard to slow. So the implication behind that, for those of us who are potentially putting the bets on today, for want of an argument, is that they won't be rolling it. So it's maybe between now and race time, but I wouldn't guarantee that as a fact at all. We'll have a look at it when we watch it on the TV Saturday afternoon and go, yes, let's cock that one up for us. Worse to that effect. But if the ground's got the equivalent of some cut in it, then standard to slow as they describe it, I'm not all over Hamish, but I think he's got the best chance of winning this one.
Yeah, you're probably right, even for an 8-year-old, and he'll bust all the stats wide open. Yeah.
Well, stats are there for breaking, even though I use them as well. They're still there for breaking sometimes.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah.
Really intrigued by your views on the next one. The 3:35, undoubtedly the big race of the day, our only Group 1. What we got? 16 going to post as things stand. Good to soft.
It's a doozy.
6 furlongs. Take it away, Ron. Take it away.
Right. Well, 3-year-olds, they had a superb record in this. Between 2014 and 2019, they won 5 of those 6 renewals. But in the last 6 years, older horses have more come to the fore. 5 and 6-year-olds have won 2 apiece. A 4-year-old got in on the act as well. And I'm looking at tomorrow's market, though, and it appears very much so that a 3-year-old is expected to win. 4 in the front 5 on the tissue are 3-year-olds. And it's currently 12-1 bar the front 5. That's important because the winner of 8 of the last 10 runnings of this was sitting from 4 on the tissue. At the weights, Inisherin is clearly the best of that quartet. But I'm looking at how the draw may affect the result. And again, all 4 seem positioned right. Middle to high looks best to me. And they are drawn 10, 11, 13, and 15. 8 of the last 10 winners arrived having won or placed last time out. And if I apply that, then we lose Inisherin and Jassor, who that one's been nibbled at this week as well. So my shortlist is basically 2, elite status and swing along. The first named runs for the same bloke that owns Inisherin. And the 2 I've got left both run for Carl Beck. And he's had a brilliant season this season. I'm obviously going to Dutch them because that's my game. But obviously I'm looking for one to pop in here as a solo play. And I'm going to run with the 3-year-old elite status. They have been all over everything this season. And this horse did the podcast an 8-1 favour back in May. I don't think this is the strongest Group 1 we've ever seen, which would be just as well because elite status has only got Group 3 and listed wins to his name so far. I'm not confident at all, and I'll put him up as a 2080. But yeah, I'll go with elite status. And have you noticed anything about the front 3 on the tissue at the moment?
No.
They look like Yahtzee dice, the colours. 3 dots, diagonal.
Yes. No, funny enough, I hadn't spotted that. Silly me.
I see all sorts of stupid stuff.
I can see exactly where you're coming from. I think Inisherin is a very decent horse. But 4 he's plenty skinny enough for me. I suppose I wouldn't say that if he flashes over the line with my money on, I wouldn't object to that. I cannot for the life of me see why we can get 14-1 for Bucanero Fuerte, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
I looked at that myself. Isn't he higher rated?
He's the highest rated horse in the field, £3 clear of Inisherin, and yet he sits at 14-1. He's coming over from Ireland. Let's have a look at his form. He says flicking quickly. I suppose I could read it off what I've written down. He won on heavy ground, soft to heavy first time out, so he doesn't mind any cut in the ground. Third at Royal Ascot, won a Group 2 at the Curragh, won a Group 1 beating, what's that horse's name again? Oh, yeah, Porta Fortuna, ever heard of it? Oh, yeah. Won a host of Group 1s already, so he's beat her by 4 lengths at the Curragh.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Didn't see out the 7th furlong, unsurprisingly, when beaten by Henry Longfellow in his last outing. Had a few issues, came back again, won by a head. When he really did look like he needed to run when he came back at race, without a shadow of a doubt. He was on target for Royal Ascot. He got sick travelling over and had to stay at the vets, I believe, in Newmarket for a couple of weeks to recover after that. It wasn't colic or anything like that. He just was ill from travelling over. Apparently, he's travelled over fine this time around. Comes out of the 3 stall. You were saying a high stall. I'm looking back at recent winners. Okay, last year came out 13th. 2022 out of the 7th stall, 2021 out of the 6th stall, 6th stall in 19, 5 in 18, 8 in 17, 4 in 16, 5 in 15. So I don't think a low draw is necessarily a killer, personally. That's what I'm hoping from what I'm reading into that. Comes out of the 3 stall, entitled to improve on that first run of the season, already rated £3 everyone's superior, handles any cut in the ground. Again, I think the more rain for him, the better. So I'm rather hopeful that the weather forecasts are wrong, just for a change. And it actually starts raining up there. No offence to all you people who live in that area. But 14-1 for a horse coming over from Ireland, who's the highest rated there is in the field. I can't resist that as an each way plunge, whatever you want to call it.
Do you know what? Do you know what? I didn't put it up because I knew you would.
Here we go. We can all say that, Ron. We can all say that.
Oh yeah, after timing. Yeah. No, do you know what I did? I knew you would spot that. I did. I knew you would spot that.
Yeah, David Egan thinks a lot of him as well. I know that, I've seen that. And then after, to be honest with you, the fact that he's the highest rated in the field was just a bonus. I do question. We questioned before on a sort of not on a race by race basis that why the handicappers' ratings are so woefully inaccurate. Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't win this, and he gets a clear run, obviously, if he doesn't win this, then someone should be saying, well, why did you give him 120 then? Why is he rated 3?
Because he 120. Yeah.
What did we do wrong? But that doesn't appear to ever be asked, does it?
Yeah.
No, I just think he's got a good chance. Again, I was rather hopeful for wetter weather, if I'm honest with you. You say it's scorching hot up there. Inisherin will handle any cut in the ground, but I don't think he's necessarily at his best on it. So I think Inisherin's the one they could have beat, but 14-1 I can't resist. Bucanero Fuerte, each way 14-1 for me, and 1 race to go on. Where are we going next?
407 Haydock.
407.
Another juvenile listed race.
Oh, just
8 to sift through. And every winner to date has carried in excess of 9 stone 3. So that rules out the Ed Walker trained Quilling Queen, who is also priced to lose because I'm not interested in anything away from the front two on the tissue. 7 of the last 10 winners were favourite or second favourite, and that also includes the last 4 winners of this race. So if that comes to fruition again, the winner is one of Age of Gold or Luther. Now, the best prices I can see tell me it's 15 to 2 bar that pair. Yeah, another example of perhaps being able to buy some money. And I do feel what I've called here solid betting ground under my feet. I'm going to Dutch the 2 because I can make a profit off it and buy some money. So, but to split them for the podcast, all I can do is use official ratings. And right now, Luther is rated £5 the better horse, and yet he's going off second favourite. And they race off level weights. All that, like we've just discussed with that Bucanero Fuerte, highest rated horse should win the race. And if he doesn't, we will ask questions. Luther for me. Yeah,
I can see where you're coming from. I've looked down. I hate this race, by the way. I usually like to. Don't like this at all. Horrible, isn't it? Don't you think?
Absolutely. I was just going to say something then. Yeah, absolutely, it is.
Sorry, I talked over you. Carry on, Ron. Sorry.
No, it is. It's a horrible little thing. Even some of the major bookmakers haven't even priced it up yet. You know, like I'm looking at Bet365's odds now. All it's got is SP.
Really?
You have to look for the best odds at the moment, and I think you can get 2 to 1 with one bookmaker, William Hill. Wow. They're the only bookmaker that I can see that have priced the race up.
It's not very exciting, is it? Age of Gold has already been gelded already, and he's got no entries, no group race entries in the autumn at all, which is very unusual for Godolphins. That sort of says to me he's not out of their top rank by any stretch of the imagination. No. Luther, Charlie Fellow says Luther's the best 2-year-old he's ever trained. And he was inexperienced cost him last time, so I can see where you're coming from there. I don't disagree with you at all. I think he's got an excellent chance. Start Warning caught my eye, winning first time out. What have I written down for him? It's easier to read what I've written, isn't it, than go look again. Yeah, once raced for Rafe Beckett. Keep doing that, sorry. Winner at Fosslas. He did it with some ease. He still holds an entry in the Royal Lodge later in the season, suggesting they think quite a bit of him. Ross Ryan takes over in the saddle. I'll back him each way at that price, 15 to 2. Hopefully all 8 runners stand their ground and we can get paid 1, 2, 3. It's a race that does not inspire me at all. If there's anything classy in that race, I will be surprised.
Yeah. The thing for that one for me is Fosslas. When they put soft next to the name of Fosslas, I always think of what Tony McCoy used to say when he was getting off a horse, and he'd say, well, there's heavy and there's Fosslas heavy. Yeah. And so Fosslas soft is probably heavy. And I'm wondering to myself, I can never translate Fosslas form to anywhere else. I don't even try. In fact, I don't even look at Fosslas, except for OMS and that type of thing. I wouldn't rate a race there to save my life, to be honest with you. But I can see where you're coming from with that. It won easy, didn't it?
It won easily. Again, when I wrote this, the going is still officially good to soft, so I can still stick with what I'm saying. Now, whether it will change by race time and make me look an idiot on all of these is another matter. But I've worked on the word soft appearing in the going description. And if that is the case, we know he'll handle it. He was aggressive, but it's pretty easy to back that day as well. Rafe Beckett's got a decent string of 2-year-olds this year, so he should know where he stands with this one. He's not over-facing him heading into listed class. He's not gone straight into group races. And they'll expect a big run from him here before they head him off to group races later in the season, if he's as good as they think he is. Am I confident? Yeah, of course. That's why I said each way and pennies. I'm not confident at all. I think Luther possibly is the best horse there, but 11 to 4 skinny enough. I'll go Start Warning because any once raced horse against the others has got more room to improve than they have in theory. He may find more than they do, and it's a may type question that I'm asking of myself, really. So I think he's got each way chances if he improves as hoped. And that I'm delighted to say wraps up the racing for this weekend. Because
the problem punters have got now is that it's coming to what I call the fag end of the season.
Yeah.
You're going to see some weird and wacky results coming through. I mean, I'm looking at some of the early results today, and you're getting some weird ones now. Haydock, I'd have some friends. I mean, the first three home in that were 12 to 1, 11 to 1, and 16 to 1. Then you've got the next race. This is Haydock, by the way, so I don't know what's going on there. The 235's been won by a 17 to 2 shot, beating the 11 to 10 favourites. And you're just thinking it's the fag end of the season. So you bet with pennies. You just don't open the betting bank. Not to the same extent as you would do normally, anyway.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't think it'll be an early fag end this year, so it's an early winter looking out my window.
Yeah,
But you say that, season doesn't end till November on the flat, and we're only early September, so we've got 3 weeks plus. 3 weeks plus in this month to go. All of October to go is another 4 weeks, so we've probably got about 8 weeks to go before it actually winds up, and we can start rearranging ourselves to look forward to the jump season instead. So we've got to battle our way through this yet, but hopefully when you press that button any second now, the OMS will tell us that that's the way forward for us.
Any second now. There we go.
Oh, yay! Worth waiting for.
The first one, King David, 16 to 1 into 9 to 1 in the newsletter, won at 17 to 1. 17 to 1? 7 to 1. Oh. Number 2 on the list. I've got the list. Desert Footsteps, 10 to 1 into 6 to 1 in the newsletter. It won at 13 to 2. And last but not least, a horse called Namos, 8 to 1 into 3 to 1 in the newsletter. They continued getting right stuck into that one, and it went and won at 9 to 4 favourites. You know that King David?
Mm-hmm.
That was one that Jeff, I sent you I posted it up on Facebook. Yeah. What he did was, I've been going on about the 3 OMS. When you've got 3 OMS, there's something going on. Yeah. Well, he paid them in a TriCast, and he only won about 264 quid for his 6 quid.
Very nice.
Yeah, but what I should say is, when you get a position like that, also consider the trifecta. You paid 309 quid. Oh yeah. But based on field size, more likely than not, the bigger the field, the more likely the payout will be bigger on the trifecta compared to the TriCast. Just a bit of advice.
I've never ever worked out why there is a forecast and an exacta and why there's a TriCast and a trifecta. I've never worked out.
Well, one is the total. One is the bookmakers. So if you're betting into a pool and you're betting, if you go betting a trifecta and you're picking 3 of the more fancied horses and it comes off, the likelihood is it will actually pay less than the TriCast because more people will have bet that bet in the pool. So if you can find 3 horses in your trifecta with the tote that most punters aren't getting involved in, then you take a bigger slice of the pie.
Gotcha.
Yep.
It's confusing because I'm looking at it it looks like the exacta is better than the forecast, and then 3 races like, no, the forecast is better than the exacta.
Yeah.
The answer is I can't find a winner, so why am I trying to find a winner and a second? Impossible. Never mind. Right. Something for I'm watching all the non-runners at Ascot all the time. While we're here, something for the weekend. So what weird and wonderfuls have you come up with this week?
I'm just going for the one this week because last week we had 4 races and I selected 2 of the 4. Yep. I got 2 winners, but neither of them were the 2 of the 4 I'd put up for something for the weekend. So I'm just going for one this week. Elite Status 2080.
Well, I'm going to say that my something for the weekend last weekend was Tanfana, and Tanfana won. So
I know.
No. I think I had 2. Quite absurd, didn't I? So we did that as well. Cicero's gift for me, 115 Haydock to win. I'm hoping the word soft remains in the going description, in which case no doubts whatsoever that it's the best horse in the race by some margin. So fingers crossed if the word soft exists in the going description. Cicero's gift, 115 Haydock. Go collect your money.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
If only life was that simple. I sounded confident, but I didn't mean it, ladies and gents. Didn't mean it.
Yeah. He's got his fingers crossed.
Exactly. And toes. Yeah. Right. Anything else to discuss this week, sir?
No. I've got a topic I want to discuss next week, though. Can I mention it now so it's on the list?
Oh, go on then.
Gelding's running in the Ark. Put that at the top of the list for next week.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Yes, well, I'm sure we'll have different sides on that. We might if we wait and see. Fingers crossed we do, actually. It makes it more entertaining. Right, in that case, I shall get back to watching the 3 o'clock at Ascot. Just about, it's off now, and I should be able to catch the end of it. Have a good weekend, everybody. If you're down south, bring an umbrella. If you're up north, enjoy the sunshine. I'm not jealous at all. And we'll be back next week.
Yep. See you same time, same place next week.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Post Racing, the site for winners.